I'm just thinking, so a couple of years ago when I was in school for programming, some classmates of mine, they built a classroom management application. I'm struggling to remember the name, but it was essentially something similar to what we're talking about, where rather than like providing detailed like keyboard type notes, it allowed teachers to like it showed like a grid of different students according to like how their desks were arranged, and you could like click
Mhm.
on one student's desk to select that student and like add notes for that specific student. So just some stuff that you were talking about just now kind of reminded me of that. And like they weren't furiously typing as they were teaching class, but they were able to write those shorthand notes and save them for posterity, so that like over an hour long class, they could capture the notes more immediately and like use those to refresh their memory later when they were sitting down to write the evaluations for the parent teacher meetings. So as a software engineer, one of the practices that we use is called agile development. You may or may not have heard about this, but it's basically like instead of having a big upfront design and then you roll it out, like whatever the product is, to the end user, it's more iterative than that. Like you maybe spend a week or two like coming up with a rough sketch, and then you show that to the end user and to all the stakeholders, and you get the feedback. And then you take another 2 weeks, another iteration they call it, and integrate that feedback and make it a little more concrete, a little more real, and then you do the same thing over. You show it to the end user and you show it to the stakeholders, and you sort of like go in this like feedback loop until you arrive at something that people are super excited about. And it's a software design practice that has been gaining steam for like the last 10 years. It's not something that a lot of government agencies or a lot of like more old school blue chip companies are using, but it's something that a lot of smaller, more nimble companies are using, especially here in the Bay Area, especially in software development and product management and things like that. Um, so yeah, I just that's apropos of nothing. You may or may not be curious about that, but yeah,
Well,
that's
I
sort of
haven't heard of it, but that sounds like a really great process. That sounds like, I mean, that should be the process for so many things that are created. Yeah, that sounds like a very great idea.